Hey, welcome to Get Into Market. I'm Nate here with John and a special guest. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, how are you?
Doing okay. Today, well, I'm super pumped to have a guest on. We don't always have a guest on. I think we're trying to do a little bit more of that.
It was like less of you two, more of other people.
It was a vote from your mom just being like, should you include your friends on this thing? John,
Hey,
why don't you have friends?
We got 5-star review.
We got 1 star.
Ooh.
That sounds more accurate.
Yeah, that's like the thing I thought was going to be true. We have a 5-star review. Thank you to the one reviewer who gave us that 5-star review. We're not sure which one of our mothers it might be, but pretty sure it's a mother.
It's definitely one of them. If you are new to this show because you're excited to see our guest on it, we welcome you. This is a show about product management, product marketing. It is for folks who are used to being in a role where the job is real, but the role is negotiable. It is kind of our general status quo is everything kind of shifts week to week, and we have to be chameleons and best fit what the org is needing day to day. For some people, that's a lot of fun. For other people, it's stressful. John's always looking very stressed, but it's okay.
That's my face.
John, this is your guest. You were fortunate enough to be able to bring her on. Can you introduce her?
Yeah, absolutely. So Anne-Marie Chrudimsky and I worked together for a hot minute, for quite a long time. And Anne-Marie is always one of the great people that I got a chance to work with, learned a lot from. And then we've stayed connected kind of after we worked, and not just in, professional advice, kind of sharing stories and that sort of thing, but then also have a shared love of Wisconsin. Both grew up in the great state of Wisconsin. Anne-Marie, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited about it. I did listen to a couple episodes to get myself prepared, but I did not leave a review, so I will have to go back and do that.
Let's do it now. Let's do it live.
Yeah.
I mean, just
what is your
notes.
1-star review? Tell us what you didn't like.
A lot of you too.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what Claude says. That's pretty exciting. So, Anne-Marie, we worked together at Jamf. Tell us what you're doing now. Just kind of like give us a quick Anne-Marie in 30 seconds professionally.
Yep. Yeah. So I think part of the story that's important is I grew up in Wisconsin, but I grew up on a farm, and then that work ethic has followed me along, and worked at a couple of technology companies, then worked with you at Jamf for 10 years. So it wasn't like a hot minute. It was like a decade.
Yeah. Right after I said
crazy.
that, is hot minute, that just means a short time period. What's the equivalent of a long period? Lots of minutes? A lot of minutes.
Lots. A lot of minutes. A lot of minutes. The best years of my life is I got shaved off in my 20s, while I was working there. And so we worked together for a decade. I was ready for something a little bit different. I felt like I just needed exposure to some other people and skill sets and software. And so I've been at Box for 4 years, which does secure content and a lot more around the AI space specifically. Like if you think about content and being one of the largest repositories of content, of secure content that is not structured, we sit on this. We're sitting on this, and so our ability to extract metadata is one of the things I'm most excited about right now. We did an acquisition a couple years ago, and I would say that we have just started tapping into some of the use cases that are possible with some of the extraction. So that's a little bit about me. And I've been at Box for about 4 years.
I would love, could we take a little detour? I used to be in that space a little bit, was kind of like an indirect competitor to Box. It seems like that industry for a long time, the biggest challenge was OCR. It was figuring out a way to do really good, inexpensive OCR, and then how do we then map it to the different fields that you're trying to extract? And that was the one thing, it was the white whale that nobody could ever really piece together, but maybe AI is kind of fixing.
Yep, you nailed it. It was always too expensive to do. It was always too complicated. I don't want to say complicated. They knew how to do it, but it was so expensive they couldn't do it. And once AI came into the picture, that's why we did the acquisition of this company called Alpha Moon that was doing AI-based OCR, essentially. And now it's built into the product, and we're starting to do some very large extraction projects. And because the cost of AI has went down so much over the last 2 years, it's now feasible for some of these, for example, I'm in financial services. We're now at a point where they can actually go look at years of data, extract all the different fields from it and actually start doing their own analysis on their data. Being able to analyze their own data is super valuable. And so now, like with the advancements of AI, we talk about it less as like people losing jobs, because in our space, there's now things that you can do that were never possible before. And so it's less about losing jobs. It's more about like, you never could touch this data, and now you actually can because of scale. So it's been pretty exciting. And if you don't follow our CEO, Aaron Levy, he's got some really great, I would just say points of view, like, and he's all over the podcast world. Like, you guys probably are competing with All In. I'm sure you guys have had some of the guests, some of the best on all that.
Most of the ad revenue that they were getting is coming to us because it's just a better platform, better podcast, obviously.
It's not like this just costs us money.
Yeah. That's not the case at all. I did start following Aaron Levy and some good stuff and really helpful. We were talking probably 6 or 8 months ago. He said the same thing, just like, hey, check this guy out and just kind of keep on touch. That's been a helpful one. Everybody else, if you're not already, check out Aaron Levy on LinkedIn. Yeah,
LinkedIn. Yeah, he posts a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and he's just, it'd be hard to miss him right now. He's been on so many channels, podcasts. Like he's getting his face in the place. He's getting his face in the place. That's for sure.
I don't know. That's a new phrase for me. That's a fun one.
Yep.
It's like a Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Dr. Seuss of online storage. Okay. So that, I feel like that is a whole new world that we could chase after. I didn't really know all that much about it. Like
clearly.
Clearly. Yeah. So one of the things that you and I did that I'm really curious about and wanted to hear from more. So you and I have just shared experience of this starting and just kind of going and getting things going, just kind of getting your feet wet, starting. Nate and I have been talking a lot about the importance of velocity and just almost momentum of just going, getting stuff there, starting, getting something built. And then I saw your Blue Microphone series on LinkedIn. And I thought, like, one, it's just on brand for you to just like, I'm just going to start doing a thing. And so I had my perceptions of how that all started, but I wanted to hear from you. Tell us about the Blue Microphone series and then how that started. What was that process? Because you've got some pretty good names on there. Like, you're not just talking to random people. You've got some good folks. What was the process of getting that started?
Yeah, absolutely. So it started, I'm going to tell you how it started, and then I'll talk about the Blue Microphone. It started because I found a need. I was in a spot at Box where we are very big deal dependent. And so I would go a month and do like a really huge demo. And then I would go 4 more weeks and do a really huge demo. But like, not practicing your skill set of presenting is, you get rusty. I'm sure that you guys have found the same thing. Like, you have to knock the rust off every single time. And so I was like, how can I get this to be less painful? I was like, I would like to do more infrequent, less formal presentations. And I was like, well, how can I start this? And so I thought about like, what do I love? What would be fun? What would I actually want to commit time to? And it actually all started with me doing just like book reviews on Instagram. I started doing like little 2 to 3 minute book reviews and posting them on Instagram. And that was kind of how I got my practice and start and got more confidence. So I started with something personal that I loved, that I knew I could talk passionately about. Then I jumped over to LinkedIn and I started doing Zoom style interviews with like a couple of the guys on my team. We were talking about like ITAR compliance and governance and customer topics that they would want to talk about. I was like interviewing my solutions engineer and people in consulting, things like that. Then someone made the decision to choose me as a social media ambassador for BoxWorks. And so BoxWorks it is not that big of a deal, trust me. I was signed up to go to BoxWorks, which is Box's annual conference. There was a group of people that they had picked as social media ambassadors, people that they wanted to comment on things and raise the voices. Sure. They really just wanted you to comment on LinkedIn. Well, I was like, I'm there anyways. They're paying for the flight. I knew I was going to have some great customers there. I'm pretty well networked within multiple groups within Box. So I decided I was going to like interview people and put little like clips on LinkedIn. Yeah. And I found a Blue Microphone that was like our brand colors, which were amazing. And then a stand. The whole setup was probably $50, no joke. And so then I brought that to BoxWorks and I got multiple executives to talk with me. I got people from like the analyst groups just to do little informal interviews. I think because it was just going to my LinkedIn and not like the corporate site, it was a little less
right.
intimidating for people. Like they don't even know who I am. Like what's the reach going to be? And so there's a lot less pressure on it than doing like something official with Box and signing a waiver and, you know, doing all that jazz. And I think also it just comes down to my personality on this one. I love people. At some point, I would love a podcast. We were just talking about like how you guys use your different technology. I'm curious about people. Do you guys know what StoryCorp is? StoryCorp,
like NPR.
Yeah, like that is my dream job, where you just ask people questions about their lives.
Not saying I don't love my job, but if they call.
If they called, I think that would be just amazing learning about people's stories. So that's kind of where this all came from. So
I'm curious, as you were telling that story, Anne-Marie, look, one of my thoughts was, how many feathers did you rustle? It sounds like the other teams kind of took it in stride and looked to how to incorporate you into their efforts rather than being like blockers to your process. How did other teams react to the work you were doing?
Yeah, I would say that my VP, she was very supportive of it. She got a huge kick out of it. She was like, "Love it." Like I didn't feel like I was doing anything controversial. Like it's really like what was the biggest takeaway from BoxWorks, and keeping it about product, like not getting too edgy, but like we do actually have some like pretty strong influencers, I would say, like LinkedIn influencers, like within Box. So I did feel like it was a safe environment for me to do something like that. And like I said, I knew that we did have some like very edgy influencers like within teams that I work with. And so I did feel confident doing it. I don't think nobody told me any feathers got ruffled. So,
well, like maybe I didn't know this detail from just other conversations that you and I have had, but what's the time frame from I need to practice my skills to I'm at BoxWorks?
Yeah, and keep in mind again, social ambassador. It was like they found a group of 20 people and wanted
just
them
own it, Anne-Marie. You're it.
There's some positioning on that needs to be done. I would say like the beginning of last year, I started the journey of hey, I want to stay sharp. I would like to do some kind of like quick hit videos. The other thing is I think the attention span for people is now like 2 minutes or something.
Right. I'm sorry. Like how long? What are we talking about?
Exactly. On like what people will watch on LinkedIn. And so I was practicing some of that. So a year and a half, maybe from start to now.
Yeah. I like just that idea of practicing it too, where you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I might not have any intent. I might not even have an idea for where this is going to go. I'm just going to start and see what happens.
Yeah.
I think I'm curious because I feel like there are people that would listen to this and just be like, wow, I've had ideas like that, but have just never carried them through to fruition. And there are various things from like internal organizational things and like rules and policies, or it's just my own fear of like doing this thing, or it just gets pushed down to other priorities. Like, was there a time in your career or life where you were in a similar situation, you chose not to just go forward and do that thing? Or do you think just personality wise, you're just the type of person that's like, I want to do this thing, I'm just going to start doing it?
I would say the thing that's always been the biggest barrier for me in any of those like crazy ideas I have are technology barriers. So for example, I would love to do a podcast, but I'm a little intimidated by what it would take for the editing. And I know that like the AI tools have gotten a lot better. So I may have the confidence to finally do it because of some of the editing tools, but it's always been the tech, I would say, that has been the most intimidating to me. I think usually it's honestly been tech versus me being afraid of doing something. It's usually that's usually the barrier.
What would you tell people who kind of stop themselves from just taking that next step? What advice would you give them?
I would say pick something you're passionate about to start and then go into more of it. So for example, like for me, I started with the book reviews. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I knew I could easily talk to because I just read the thing. It's not like I'm giving like some strong point of view on OCR technologies in the last 3 years. I'm not an expert in that. Like, that's just not, I can talk to it well enough, but not at the point where I can talk about books. And like, I just have a very strong base for that. And so I think the first thing you should do is talk about something you're very well versed in and something you're confident in. And then you can almost like stepping stone yourself. I mentor quite a few young women, and that's always been like my advice to them in anything. Like, I'd love to have a blog, or I'd love to start writing. Okay, we'll start with like short little posts about things that you love. And it doesn't have to be about work stuff. Like Write it about something that you're passionate about. Start it that way and then move yourself into it being part of your like formal brand. I think so many people are afraid to make the jump from it being personal to like to exposing people to your personality at work. But the funny thing is, like, the most successful people on LinkedIn are the ones that have their own voice and that are exposing their personality in their writing and that aren't using just AI garbage that's out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. No, we're not saying it. Well, I don't know if there's actual research behind this, Nate, so you would know, but I worked with someone at Domo, and she told me that more and more brands are finding that individuals just doing that, like as it relates to just purely personal brand, that is the better way to sell, that buyers are actually interested in who are the people there. Are they robots or is there some sense of humanity there? Do you know any research behind that, Nate?
I don't. I mean, it makes sense. I think like one of the things that I love about this story, Anne-Marie, that you told is just that your reasoning for it is not what I would have guessed. Like I would have, reading the story about how guessing how Blue Microphone would have started would have been like, you thought there was like a gap either in like your own content that you wanted to share with customers or that Box wasn't fulfilling that you thought might help connect to customers and prospects. And your thing was really just practicing a skill. Like I think is such an amazing like framing of how to tackle that as a problem. What other skills are you constantly looking to sharpen that you feel like dull with time and not practicing? Like what else is perishable in your skill set?
Writing, especially with like AI. The ability to write very strong, direct emails and have them not be like AI based is a skill that is going to get lost with people. I work in enterprise sales. So a lot of the deals that we work on are multi-month, multi-year. I think a lot of times people don't have the right project management skills. Like one thing, fun fact, I'm project management certified. I didn't get my PMP, but I did take the certification. And that has been one of the most impactful aspects of my career because of all the benefits it's gotten me in managing complex deals. And so I would say like that skill set of like project management in sales is like irreplaceable, indispensable, because a lot of the stuff that we do in aiding the buyers that we have is they don't exactly know their buying process. They know there's a bunch of approvals to go through. And I just think the relationship building, like people shouldn't forget about that. Like a lot of the success that I've had over the last couple of years have been relationship building. I strongly believe like the people have the relationships and like are showing human aspects are the ones that are going to succeed as we look at like the next 5 years here.
Yeah. You mentioned just the outcomes, the outputs, what happened out of it. Has this impacted your business? Are you growing more? Are you influencing? What outcomes from this experiment have you found? What's been working? What's it done for you in your business?
What I've found is that I use it in a strategic way. And so, for example, as I'm talking with partners, I ask them like, tell us a little bit about like what you do, and then tell us about specifically what you do with Box. And then, you know, like what was interesting to you. And then they'll talk about like features that are impactful to their customers. I've used those clips to send over to people that I'm working with and said, hey, I think that this partner could be a good fit for you, because it's just more personal than like a marketing slick or like a one pager. And then I would say the other places I've just been getting a lot of traction from people that come out of the woodwork, like you, John Miller, and have just like reintroduced themselves. Like, oh my gosh, I get such a big kick out of these Blue Microphone interviews. Like this is wild. Keep doing them. So I would say continuing to build my brand. I think that that's helpful as well. But I would say like, is there direct sales correlation? I don't know.
Yeah. One thing, just to go back into kind of the more tactical things that I was wondering about, was you talked about how the buying cycle is really long and you're trying to empower your champions in an enterprise sales cycle. How much of it is hand-holding with them to just kind of like keep them engaged as they're going along, because this was more than they probably bargained for when they initially had like this pain point that they went in search of a solution for?
Depends on your champion, but I would say what's been happening lately the last 2 years is that the amount of security review, the amount of risk review, and the amount of procurement scrutiny has never been higher. So even if they bought software like a couple years ago, a lot of things have changed. And if it's 6 figures, it's going all the way up to CIOs for review. And so really arming these people with the kind of CIO-facing documentation that they'd want versus the technical reasons that they're buying has been super important.
Last question for me, which is just how, when you were working with John, did he fail you as a product manager for you as a salesperson? And give as many examples as you can. Yep. Sure, there's lots. Whittle it down. Top 10.
Oh, dear. Disappointments. I mean, honestly, John was on the sales side when I worked with him. He was a solutions engineer. And so I worked with him when he was I worked like in proxy with him, like when he was a product manager, but really it was when he was a solutions engineer and he was pitching to customers and he just seemed nervous. I mean, that was the vibe.
Yeah, it's the sweating. It's the constant sweating. That's a real downside.
That's why you wear those sweat guards in your shirts.
You don't want to know. You want to know what? John was like the height of my career. I'm going to call some people out right now. So John was like a really nice solutions engineer though. So like when I got moved to the next team,
I love where this is going.
So when I got moved to the next team that I was on, two guys that are still very close friends of mine, they were solutions engineers. And they would have a game they would play, and we'd all be in a very big call. And they would literally fart in the room. And they would wait until they knew it was like my turn to speak. And I would have to like either make the decision on like bailing and like figuring out if I was going to like breathe that in.
I did not know this.
John, you know how small those conference rooms were, like back in the old building? Like they were small. And so John was the height. I don't have any complaint. There's
a low bar to cross, it sounds like.
But anyways, it was great work. But John, he was like a really great solutions engineer because he was always customer focused. And so I think like his natural progression into being a product manager made total sense because he was always asking questions and like curious about the customers. And so they always loved him. If I'm being
John,
honest.
I didn't know there was a period of your career where you talked to customers and used them as feedback. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
That's good to know.
I might have even been okay at it too.
You were good at it. Our team.
I just feel like working with John for a decade would age you like Robin Williams in that Jack movie where you start
just
at
gray hair everywhere.
Yeah.
We all age. I feel like that's a part of just the software world that no one talks about. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want to join a rocket ship" and all that sort of stuff. And where we worked, it was a pretty wild ride. I mean, like the numbers were pretty significant for kind of what the growth was. It's not as fun as people might think it is. Like it draws a very specific group of people. It was both the best 10 years of my career, and the most difficult, hard work, insane, just weird stuff. So we end these with just lessons learned. And a part of that is us driving ourselves to continue learning and kind of trying new things. Do you have a lesson learned? Something that you learned the last week, Emery, that you would, nope, you're shaking your head. You don't learn anything.
Oh, I do. You're not going to believe this. So my lesson of the week is like, you never know what that phone call from the school is going to be about. I got a call this morning, actually afternoon, like 2 hours ago. Pick it up. Hey, this is a school nurse. I just want to let you know that your first grader, when she was on the playground, she picked up a dead mouse and they were playing with it. I said, what? He goes, yeah, we had the kids wash their hands. Everything's okay, but you might want to talk through about it because it was like freshly dead. So they thought it was cute and they gave it like a proper funeral. That was like what their goal was.
That's kind.
It was very kind of her, but I'm just picturing all these kids playing with dead mouse.
Oh, wow.
Did your kid kill the mouse?
No, they found it newly dead.
Yeah, that sounds like something a kid would say. I found it this way, but really,
no, no. I don't think so. I don't think she is the kid. She's not the kind. That's not her vibe.
Yeah.
John, geez, were you like murdering animals at your school playground?
That's like one of the 3 signs of a serial killer background, right?
Oh yeah,
is killing animals.
Yeah.
So John, what's your lesson learned this week?
I saw a news article the other day that said something about Windows XP, and I was like, wait, Windows XP, is that still a thing? 5.5 million devices, Windows XP devices, are still browsing the internet and going to websites. 5.5 million. That's way more than I expected it to be. And it's funny. A lot of the customers that we talk to now, Nate, are on older software, older systems, on-prem, a lot of that. And so to see 5.5 million devices, I was like, oh, those are my people. I bet one of those is a customer. But it's just interesting. It's a tiny market share, obviously enough, but it's just a lot bigger number than I expected it to be.
It's surprising. I guess it's also surprising, just like you would think they would have stopped using it by now as part of the surprising part. Like, it's not surprising to me because those upgrades were always kind of a pain, right? For Windows devices in particular, but that they're still using it is kind of surprising.
And it works.
Because it was Windows XP.
They stopped supporting it in 2014.
Oh, wow. That's pretty recent. I would have guessed longer ago.
Yeah.
Huh.
Only 11 years ago.
My lesson learned. So I have not been to, I had to take the kids clothing shopping maybe like a weekend ago. So we walked over to the Best Buy. There was a couple stores down. I haven't spent much time at a Best Buy in a long, long time. The layout of the store and how much of the footprint that they allot to different things has shifted so much. When I was a kid, right, when you would go to a Best Buy or RIP Circuit City, it was for physical media. You were going there for CDs and video games, and there's just no physical media anymore. The two things that they had that were physical media was they had some video games, and they actually had vinyl records. They had a very small section of vinyl records because folks are starting to do vinyl again. And that was it. It was a little depressing because I do kind of part of the fun of going to those stores was flipping through all the different CDs and movies and all that. It was just video games and vinyl records.
That's kind of hilarious. Such a funny dichotomy to be inside of Best Buy.
They've shifted a ton. They actually had they own so much real estate, and after COVID, they had to change their space, as you could tell.
Oh, right.
And so it's a lot more of a high touch it's more of an advisory consultative approach that they have. They took a lot of their locations and use them as logistics instead of it being an actual store, so that they can get things more quickly. And they actually, do you guys know that they bought a healthcare company?
No.
So think about it. They own Geek Squad. And think about the cost of putting an older family member going into long-term care. And what they do is they have this health service where grandma can stay at her house longer, and they'll install all the tech that allows her to stay in her house longer. And it'll almost be I've fallen and I can't get up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a higher tech, I've fallen and I can't get up concept. And they saw it in the market. There was some interesting stuff they were doing.
Anne-Marie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for...
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, just everything you shared. I really like your Blue Microphone series. I think it's cool. I like that it's a different story than I expected in so much that I just thought you're I'm just going to go do this because I think I want to, be an ambassador for Box. Not, that wasn't the outcome, I suppose. But I love that it started out different. I appreciate you being here. Good to see you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, congratulations on the longest podcast ever, because yep. Yeah, we'll see how you guys edit this out. I appreciate it at the time. And thank you guys. And I'm going to pick your brain on the tech too, podcast.
Where can people find the Blue Microphone series? Where can they find you online to the extent that you want to share it with people that watch John's stuff?
It's his mom. So if his family would like to find me on LinkedIn, it's just Anne-Marie Chrudimsky. The last name is insane, so probably just look at the podcast. But if you Google Anne-Marie Chrudimsky, you'll find me on LinkedIn, and you can check out these Blue Microphone interviews.
Well, thank you very much for joining. It's always great to have a guest get into market. We come out every Tuesday, and episodes are available wherever you listen to your podcasts, and you can find our videos on our YouTube channel. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, MC. See you, buddy. Bye.